I got all super excited when they announced that there's the Tomb Raider 4, 5, and 6 finally coming out, little remaster versions and everything. And flipping through my little digital collection here, I got the Tomb Raider, the book is all it's called, but from Prima's official strategy guide. It was a cool one that came out um, pretty much about right when the movie was first coming out, the very first movie with Angelina Jolie. That's why I even got an interview with her in here. And it kind of was a little quick guide on Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, going through all of them. But it also had one of those cool kind of sections where it gave a little backstory to Lara Croft and it gave a little bit of history and so on like that. And I thought that would make for a fun little read to go through. So here we go, Prima's Guide, Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Here's the introduction. Welcome to the Tomb Raider book. In this guide, we'll explore the world of video gaming's number one lady, Lara Croft. We'll give you the strategies to the 6 games she also starred in: Tomb Raider 1, 2, 3, Tomb Raider Last Revelation, Tomb Raider Chronicles, and Tomb Raider for Game Boy. Oh yeah, they put the Game Boy one in there too. I was really trying to think of what was that 6th one? It wasn't Angel of Darkness yet. Whatever, continuing on. When the industry first saw the original Tomb Raider at the Electronic Entertainment Expo, gamers knew that something special was coming, and they were right. Since its debut in 1996 on PlayStation, Sega Saturn, and the PC, Lara has transcended the game industry. She has appeared in music videos such as U2 and on magazine covers, and now she gets her very own movie, a movie that enthusiasts believe will be the first great video game movie to transition the piece. Okay, so who is Lara Croft? Lara Croft, daughter of Lord Hensingly Croft, was raised to be an aristocrat from birth. She was privately tutored from age 3 to 11, whereupon she attended Wimbledon High School for Girls in Surrey, England. At age 15, she showed an interest in archaeology and was introduced to the subject by renowned adventurer Von Croy, whom she accompanied on an expedition to Colombia. Von Croy never returned from the trip. However, the undisclosed incident that led to this apparent demise also ended Lara's interest in archaeology. She returned home to graduate from high school, a boarding school, and finally a Swiss finishing school, which she left at the age 21. Lara's marriage into wealth had seemed assured after her father arranged to her to marry the Earl of Farrington. However, on the way home from a skiing trip with her fiancé, her chartered plane crashed deep into the heart of the Himalayas. Although Lara was the only survivor, in a way, she died too. The woman who learned to stay alive for 2 weeks in the hostile wilderness before emerging from the ordeal was not the same sheltered Lara Croft who had originally boarded the plane. Back in the upper-class British society, Lara was unable to stand claustrophobic and suffocating atmosphere. She realized that the only time she had felt truly alive is when she traveled alone and depended on her wits to survive. With her wealth and connections, over the following 8 years, she was able to acquire an intimate knowledge of ancient civilizations across the globe. Her father, however, eventually disowned her prodigal daughter and cut her off from the family fortune. Lara turned to writing to fund her trips, famed for discovering several ancient sites of profound archaeological interest. She made a name for herself by publishing travel books and detailed journals of her exploits. So that's a cool little bio piece on there. A little bit tough to read because they put a picture of Lara Croft right behind it, so as you're reading it, you got kind of literally white on white, but cool little section. And then it kind of goes into some of the games here and everything. So first we got Evolution. Tomb Raider began as a small game on the Sega Saturn, an exclusive for the Sega Saturn for a glorious 6 months, Sony PlayStation, and PC. When the world saw it, gamers played it, a franchise was born. The next installment was such a hit that Sony made exclusive on the PlayStation console market. Subsequent games have improved steadily, and Lara has appeared on the Game Boy Color system, allowing her ventures to be taken on the road. Lara has appeared on magazine covers, starred in a pair of music videos, and has had several books written about her. And now her fame has reached a fever pitch in Hollywood's blockbuster movie. In this chapter, we take a look back at the journey Lara has traveled from the very first Tomb Raider game to her current incarnation. So here we go. We got the timeline. Tomb Raider 1, 96. Tomb Raider 2, 97. Tomb Raider 3, 98. Tomb Raider Last Revelations, 99. And 2000 Tomb Raider Chronicles. They just came out every single year just to overwhelm people probably by the time it's all said and done. No different than what Assassin's Creed did kind of later on. But yeah, you can sometimes never have you want to kind of space those games. That's what makes a Zelda game kind of sometimes feel magical every single time it comes out, because there's not just one every single year. But lo and behold, I still love these Tomb Raider games. I don't care. They're all great right here. So we're going in Tomb Raider 1996. Tomb Raider was a remarkable on a number of levels, with its storyline revealed means of superb FMV sequences and cutscenes using an in-game engine. Its plot both entertained and enjoyed further play. The temptation to get to the next plot update was always high. At the same time, the concept of using narrative asides throughout an action game was unusual. Similarly, its haunting and partial context-sensitive classical soundtrack gave its next-generation feel, with games interacting is king. But Tomb Raider proved that judicious use of cinematic elements can make a game truly astonishing. After a few minutes of play, the abiding genius of Tomb Raider's design shines through. If you've never played the original adventure, you should. Don't miss a classic moment in video game history. And that is totally true. Tomb Raider 1, that's always going to be my favorite one. And if Tomb Raider 1 for some reason is a little too archaic for you, you always have Tomb Raider Anniversary. You get a pretty similar experience in a little bit more modern style. But yeah, if you want the true experience, you got to go old school. So going next, Tomb Raider 2, 1997. Tomb Raider 2's locales have been worldly recognizable feel, from the Great Wall of China to Venice, from an offshore rig to a sunken ship. Tomb Raider 2 has introduced Lara's abilities to climb certain surfaces, while rope slides presented a few scary descents from particularly high places. An improved game engine also facilitated better lighting effects, allowing Lara to wield flares to illuminate dingy rooms. The most significant addition to Tomb Raider 2's mode, however, was the introduction of vehicles. In the Venice section, a speedboat was a central aspect of the first level, with a few enjoyable set pieces, in particular a death-defying leap while under the fire from assailants. The speedboat was a lot of fun to control. Later, in the Tibetan foothills, Lara drove a snowmobile. As with the speedboat, this allowed for hair-raising stunts. It also proved handy for disposing of aggressors foolish enough to wander too close. While the original Tomb Raider evoked a marvelous sense of isolation, with occasional combat encounters to disturb it, Tomb Raider 2 focused more on regular battles with assorted henchmen. Tomb Raider 2 was the worthy sequel. So yeah, you get a little bit of cool little sections there, little pictures and whatnot. And then we move on to Tomb Raider 3, 1998. Compared to its predecessor, Tomb Raider 3 was hard and very large. While hardcore fans of the series loved the challenge it presented, some gamers found it a bit too difficult. Tomb Raider 3 introduced some new moves. Lara could now crawl through low gaps, monkey swing across ceilings that featured risque handholds, and also learn to sprint and dive forward, an essential skill for avoiding many of the fiendish traps. Dual shock support was now implemented, allowing players to look around while running. Departing the linear format of its predecessors, Tomb Raider 3 allowed players to choose their own route through the middle section of the game. After Lara's excursion to India, there was a choice between a visit to London, the South Pacific, or Nevada. Of these, South Pacific section was by far the most enjoyable, with Lara kayaking through the fast currents and past stunning scenery. Tomb Raider 3 had a special reward. If you collect every secret, you received a secret level, All Hallows, as a reward. Another bonus of the secret racetrack at Lara's house, discovered after exploring the not-too-humble abode. And then here's a little special section on, it's got the music here. Through the years, Lara has collaborated with the band U2. The first came to 1997's Pop Mart tour, where she appeared on a huge screen during Hold Me, Kill Me, Kiss Me, Thrill Me. Her latest adventure into the land of music television occurred in June 2001. U2 performed on the movie soundtrack, and Lara makes an appearance in the video. Well, continue on next. We got Tomb Raider 4, The Last Revelation, 1999. For radical overhaul of the Tomb Raider engine, The Last Revelation was a delight to behold, especially on the PlayStation, where it pushed its hardware to the limit. Lara's moves were enhanced, she could climb around corners, and her crawling skills were improved. She also acquired one of the most spectacular proficiencies, swinging across chains on handily placed ropes. Tomb Raider The Last Revelation also expanded upon Lara's previous history, replacing the much-loved but then increasingly familiar exposures of the Croft Mansion as a training section. Players took part in a previous episode of Lara's life, a trip through the ruins of Cambodia with eminent archaeologist Werner van Croy. For hardcore Tomb Raider veterans, this otherwise easy-to-complete area could be played via a more difficult route. Tomb Raider The Last Revelation featured more taxing puzzles, a new menu system, allowed items to be combined. Combat encounters were also enhanced, both in terms of enemy AI and the nature of the monsters. Such improvements, and with some superb level design, made The Last Revelation arguably the most enjoyable Tomb Raider since the first. And last but not least in this book, we got Tomb Raider 5 Chronicles. At the end of The Last Revelation, we left our heroine hanging precociously off a cliff. Did she live? Did she die? The title of the game was quite ominous, and Tomb Raider fans were left wondering. When Tomb Raider Chronicles was announced, fans thought they had the answer. Of course, Lara had survived, but Tomb Raider Chronicles is a collection of Lara's earlier adventures. We still don't know our favorite adventurer's fates. Tomb Raider Chronicles is a collection of 4 adventures broken up over several levels. In this game, Lara goes on several great artifacts: the Philosopher's Stone, the Spear of Destiny, and the Iris. She also investigates rumored oddities on the Black Isle. A notable addition in Tomb Raider Chronicles was the deep sea suit. In the search for the spear levels, Lara donned a sunken U-boat. To survive the depths, she had to wear a deep sea suit. While in it, she couldn't shoot, so stealth was the order of the day. And so was patience. There was just enough oxygen in the suit to make it to the sub, get the spear, and return safely. If Lara rushed, her heart rate would elevate and she would consume more oxygen than she had. So that goes through all those 5 Tomb Raiders there, and then you learn that in Tomb Raider 6, that kind of explains that part there with Angel of Darkness. But then there's one more little section in here I thought was kind of cool before it gets to like the strategy guide elements of here. There's a Laura's evolution of everything, and she's just got the different kind of character outfits and so on throughout the game. So we'll start from the top. When we first met our heroine in 1996, her wardrobe was quite limited. She donned her trademark aqua sleeveless shirt, fingerless leather gloves, canvas shorts, holster, white socks, brown lace-up boots, and she traveled from the caves of the Himalayas to the jungles in the city of Vilcabamba. When Tomb Raider 2 came around, Lara got some new outfits. She never gave up her adventuring outfit for good. Instead, she got a bomber jacket for cold weather. She still wears shorts, but they look good on her, so we're not complaining. She's also got a wetsuit for underwater portions of the game. The only problem with the wetsuit was that Lara became barefoot, fine for underwater, but not so good when she hopped up on land. Our heroine could have used some diving shoes. In Tomb Raider 3, Lara traveled the globe. She visited India, Venice, London, Nevada, the South Pacific, and Antarctica. As she globetrotted, Lara picked up a couple of new outfits. In India, Lara donned her traditional costume, but when she headed to Nevada desert and then to London, she wore blue combat fatigues. Antarctica must be colder than the Himalayas, because this time, in the cold weather, Lara had pants. The Last Revelation is the first major overhaul to the Tomb Raider engine and the first significant improvement to Lara's character. The polygon count went up, and Lara could do new things, such as swinging from vines, and the game introduced Lara as a young woman, and the training levels with Von Croy. And at the end of the game, we saw Lara possibly the last time hanging off a cliff, about to fall to her death. Chronicles featured Lara at different ages. She wore different costumes and searched for many different artifacts, such as the Spear of Destiny and the Iris. She traveled in her fatigues, her standard adventuring suit. She also went deep sea diving in her elaborate diving suit. Hopefully Lara will return, and we will see her as never before. So yeah, that's just kind of a cool little strategy guide back in the day when they used to make those ones where they did a little compilation of a bunch of games, gave you a little bit of history and backstory, because keep in mind, this is still that time period. Like, the internet's there, but it's not nearly as broad as it was at one point, you know, so it was cool to get these. You were getting a little historical book. You were learning all the stuff that, you know, a little bit more than you would get maybe in the games or even in the games booklets themselves. But it's a fun one there. Miss the days of good old strategy guides. It's just one of those ones. Not the same, but hey, we still got those old-fashioned ones we can go through, take a look, get some history, and then get pumped and ready for when we get our new kind of remasters of Tomb Raider and see where that goes from next. So yeah, till then, I'm Spencer Scott Holmes, and I'll see you some other time.